Hello everyone! Today I'm starting with a different kind of video. I'm trying to make a knitting podcast, and it's about one of my special knitting designers, Stephen West, as you can see in the description of the video. I never made a knitting podcast before, but in recent years knitting has become more and more a real passion. Also because of some knitting designers, and that's how the idea for this podcast came about. Of course, also inspired by many other podcasters that I really enjoy watching. If you watch my channel, you can see that my other passion is painting, and knitting is a very good balance to this activity. Because when I paint, it is a creative process that pushes me with a lot of energy, and knitting is the process that helps me to calm down, to relax, and sometimes it is also a very meditative activity. I've actually been knitting my whole life, as I learned it at school as a child, and then I knitted something every now and then, depending on whether I had the time for it or wanted to knit a particular item. There were also longer breaks without knitting, but it never stopped. About 4 years ago, when the world outside suddenly changed completely and even more or less stood still for a while, I was glad that I could fall back on knitting, because I can't really sit around and do nothing, but I could hardly do anything else because I was totally blocked inside, a state in which I cannot paint, for example, or can only paint a little. So I started knitting a sweater for myself. I don't need any instructions. I just figured out everything for my size and got started. Since I had already produced many YouTube videos myself until the end of 2017, I also enjoyed watching videos from other YouTubers. Then YouTube recommended knitting podcasts to me. That started about 3 or 4 years ago. Until then, I didn't know that these types of podcasts existed, and I was pretty excited. It was incredibly interesting to see what others were making out of yarn, very different knitted pieces, many different types of wool, and above all, a variety of patterns and instructions that made it interesting to watch every time. What I had learned before were the basics, maybe a few special features, but it had been enough for my knitting so far. Now I was able to benefit from the podcasts because I kept learning things that I didn't know before, but that was very useful for my knitting. I could also see from the podcasts that a huge knitting community had emerged over the internet, with people coming from all over the Western world, from Europe, USA, Canada, as well as Australia. And one podcast I subscribed to came from Bermuda. I think that's really great because it somehow shows that a lot of people, in this case mostly women, but there are also some men who knit, are interested in making their own garments and not always just buying everything ready-made. All age groups are in this podcast, from quite young to older people, and I think it's a very good trend. Then, of course, there are also many knitting designers. Before, I only knew books or magazines with knitting patterns. Today, special websites also offer the possibility to buy individual patterns which I think is great, because if I only want to knit a certain sweater, for example, I don't need a whole book of sweaters. In addition to the sometimes very well-known designers who are often mentioned in the podcasts, the lesser-known podcasters also often have their own designs. So you can browse through and look to a lot of different designs and knitting patterns. So today I'm talking about one of these well-known designers, Stephen West, an American who lives in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and he came to my attention in a very special way. It was in October 2022, and I was watching a podcast by Amy Palko from Scotland. From her previous podcasts, I had already learned that she is a fan of Stephen West and has already knitted many of his patterns. In this podcast in October 2022, she talked about a so-called mystery knit-along, in short MCAL, which has been offered by Stephen West every autumn in October for many years now. This means that you sign up to this event by buying a knitting pattern for a shawl, and then you are part of a large knitting circle that knits this shawl together, but does not know in advance what the knitted piece will look like in the end. Hence the name mystery. For 4 weeks, you will receive a weekly email with a clue, a part of the pattern, and so the shawl grows week by week, and only with the last clue you will have the whole picture. However, because it should remain a secret for as long as possible, participants are asked to share their advance, but to post the clues they have already knitted only behind a neutral photo on the internet. Amy Palko pointed out in her video that a look at her mystery knit-along follows now, and if you haven't knitted it that far yet and don't want to see it, you should look away until you are told that it can no longer be seen. I didn't know this mystery knit-along before, and therefore I was very interested to see it. I was completely blown away because what she showed was something I had never seen before, and above all, I couldn't imagine how you could knit such a pattern at all. This triggered me so much that I immediately signed up for this event, not only to learn how to knit this special pattern, but because I really like the idea of such MCAL, as do many others, since several thousand knitters around the world take part. With this mystery knit-along, this knitting pattern by Stephen West, I have also joined the circle of fans because his patterns are very unusual and sometimes crazy, mostly outside of what is normal, and that is my cup of tea anyway. So the Mystery Knit-along 2022, called Twist and Turns, is my first shawl by Stephen West. Unfortunately, the light is not so good at the moment, but I hope I can go on. Okay, let's try. Now, enough words. Let's go to the shawls. I realized someday that I have made many shawls the last 2 years. I never thought about, but then I counted, and I counted 8 shawls. Wow. They are not all for me, because I have some made for others, so I can not show all my shawls I made. I'm Stephen West shawls, and I have no other shawls made. No, it's enough. 8 shawls are so much. It's a lot of knitting. But I have photos of all shawls, so I can show it on a photo, and the other ones I have here with me. Yes. The first, of course, is the Twist and Turns Mystery Knit-along, and it looks like this. It's big. By the way, the Stephen West shawls are mostly really big. I decided for these colors, and this is the pattern I saw I saw in Amy Palco's video. This braids, knitted braids. I never saw this before, and I thought it's impossible to knit braids. How can this happen? But it is a little bit tricky, but it is to make. I made it. Yes. So this shawl is made in pieces, if you want so. This was the first clue, what you can see here, this, yes. Then the second clue was this part. Oh, it's not so easy to show, but I hope it's to see. Then we have this part. What is the third? I don't know. Yes, it may be, yes. Then another part is this border. Also very special. It is made with another cable, pattern, and then this I-cord, how to say, this little extra knitted I-cord items were woven in, so I can say, yeah. This is a special of a Stephen West pattern. You don't know what you have to make, as it's a mystery knit along, and in the end you are very surprised what you all can make. And yes, this is like wings, if I can show it. So one side, the middle, and the other wing. I think I should put some photos in the end of the video to show the whole shawl. Yes, bit is to see. I don't wrap it around me now because it's a little too warm outside. So this shawl is nice. I like it very much, but it's not one I wear quite often. I had put it on sometimes, but not so very often. I have some others who I really like more. Okay. The second Stephen West shawl started right after the Twist and Turns in December 2022, because Stephen West had a new pattern in the winter time, also kind of knit along, but not a mystery knit along. You have the pattern and you can see what it looks like, and yes, you can start. But because it's so much fun to have a knit along, to know other people are knitting the same at the same time, and you can share the photos in Instagram or something like that, that is very nice. And as I had so much fun to knit this Twist and Turn shawl, I immediately started to make the next one. And this shawl is it is a Aurora cabin shawl, and it's called Hibernate Along. So you can choose your own colors, you have the pattern, and then it goes on. And this is the Aurora cabin shawl. This is another kind of knitting. This is also a very big shawl. If you have a cold winter, you have a very big, nice, warm shawl to warm you up. This is also a special Stephen West kind of knitting. He started here in this point with some 5 or a very little amount of stitches, and then it goes round by round, and in every round you increases the stitches so that it can grow, and in the end, this is also one row, you have more than 1,000 stitches in one row. That is special. I never made this before. That is for me also the thing. Many times I thought, okay, I never did this before. Also the kind of pattern. This kind of pattern I never made before. I saw it and I thought, how can I do such special stitches? But it works. And it's also fun to knit, and this is one of my favorite. It's very nice to have it when it's cold in winter. The Aurora cabin shawl. I had some yarn in my stash which I could use for this one. This was very nice. I bought some new, and it was a good mix. It was a good mixture. I like this colorway, and it was a time where I really love green and yellow and blue in combination, and this changed. Sometimes I like to change the colorway I knit in, but mostly my favorite colors are more in pink and violet and such thing, yes. But also this is very nice to have, yes. The next shawl I made was from a book Stephen West released in the beginning of 2023. It's called the Modular Coloring Shawls, with some easier patterns, some more, how could I say this, with not so spectacular or difficult patterns as in the mystery knit along or other patterns he had before. It was more for some mindless knitting and for quite easy shawls. So I thought it was very nice to have some of these to knit, because not even it is it's nice to have some mindless knitting sometimes when you want to calm down and you don't have to concentrate when you have so like difficult patterns or something like that. So the third shawl I knitted by Stephen West was the quilting triangle shawl, and it looks like these, all over triangles. Not so big as the other two I made before, and it was some nice knitting for me because I had some yarn I bought for another object, but I never made it, and so I can use this mostly my yarn from my stash. I don't have to buy new yarn, and this time these colors were not really my favorite colors, but it's okay. It was also fun to knit this, and yeah, my third shawl. It's it's good to see, huh? By the way, I will put all these patterns, the original patterns, in the description box below. So if one is interested in these patterns, you can look at the original pattern by Stephen West, so you have all the infos you need, the wool, the recommended wool, or the needle size, or something like that. I don't remember all the names of the wool I used because I'm not the one who is documenting all these things. I think it's better to have a look at the original pattern, so it's the best way to find out what you can use for your shawl if you want to knit it. And the next shawl I made was the striped, sorry, my notes, the striped thundercloud shawl, also in the book Modular Coloring Shawls. It's another mindless knitting, and I've used some other colors this time. I bought this wool especially for this shawl because I wanted a special colorway, another colorway that I not really used every time, but I like this. I think it was a sale on one of my online yarn shops, and it was a little bit thicker wool than recommended, so this shawl is way big, is very big. I think it's bigger than the origin, but it's yes, and you can see this wonderful, oops, colorway, thundercloud. Is this a thundercloud? I think so. Could be. But it's very nice wool, very soft, and I used it also quite often last winter when it was cold outside and inside, and it's nice. The thundercloud, striped thundercloud shawl. That is the fourth. Okay, now I had to talk about two shawls I had made for others, and I will post photos in the end, and then I say something to this shawls, about this shawls. And first was the Boneyard shawl. I made it for my son to his birthday in May, and it was a very simple shawl. It was Stephen West's first knitting pattern, and I talk about a little, as I said, in the end when I have a photo of it. And also the next shawl I made for a birthday for my sister, a birthday present for my sister. It's called the Striped S Yarn from a book I have, and in between I have some books with Stephen West patterns, and it's a very nice shawl, and I considered to make it for myself, but then I had made it for my sister, and maybe sometimes I make one for me because it's a very nice shawl, and I talk about it also a little bit in the end when I show the photo. And then in the autumn of 2023, what happened? Of course, the next mystery knit along, and this time it's called the Geog shawl, the mystery knit along 2023, and this is the Geog. And that are my special colors. I like a lot these colors in pink and violet, and yes, bright violet, dark violet. Also this, and this time I used Stephen West wool. I bought it especially for this because he has a shop, an online shop, but also a real shop in Amsterdam, and he has a lot of wool, and also a wool which was made for his shop, for West Wool and for his brand. And I don't know how before. It's a very nice, very soft wool, and he has unbelievably colors. a lot of colors and very, very nice colors, and so I couldn't resist to buy this for this Geog gradient Stephen Westwood. And yes, and this is my absolutely favorite. It's so yeah, very, very soft, and I like it. And normally I don't like to have this fringes on the end, but this time it was recommended. You don't have to do it, but it was recommended. And for another time we have a pattern I never did before. This is hard to knit, really, really hard to knit, because sometimes I thought I broke my finger. Ooh. But it looks very nice, but it's also very stiff. So yes, and in the end, on this stiff edge, I think it's very nice to have some floppy, or how to say, flattering fringes. So yes, it's very, very nice. For the middle we could make our own designs, and I made it this way. Like it very much. And yeah, then is a nice easy second part. The second part is quite easy. This time this part is also a bit new for me, and not difficult, but not so easy to knit, let me say so. And in the end it's, yeah, a very, very nice shawl. And also big. Oops. And also big. Okay. And after the Geog gradient I made a shawl for the partner of my son, because she saw what I made and she liked it, and so I asked her if she also wanted a knitted shawl by me, and she said yes. And so she ordered the wool, and I knitted her the canal ring shawl, and I also show it in the end with a photo and say something about it. And that were 8 shawls I made the last 2 years, and I wonder how much I have knitted, because this was not all I knitted. I have also made a sweater or 2 sweaters, I don't know, a cardigan, I don't know. I made other things, and some hats, not for me but also for my son, and I made socks, and wow. And one last thing, in this book, Modular Coloring Shawls, was also a piece that is for leftovers, or for stash, for wool you can use if you have some in your stash that you never wanted to, or you never can use for something else. You can make this is called block by block blanket. It's made as a shawl but also can be used as a blanket, and I will use it as a blanket. It's not finished. It is, I will show it soon. It is big until now, but it should be a little bit bigger, that I really can use it as a big blanket, and it's quite colored with all leftovers I had since years, not only the last 2 years. I made it before, and I have some wool that I have for a longer time, and I didn't know what I can do with it, and I didn't know what I can do with it. So I thought it's a fun idea to make a big blanket with all this leftovers. And okay, I show it now, but it's not so easy because there are needles in and it's big. So let's try before the light is gone completely. Oops. These two are in work now. So, oh. as I said, it's not so easy because here are needles, 4 needles. This is knitted side by side. The blanket has 4 sides and you knit one side and then the other side and then the third and then the fourth. And oh, this is the block by block schlenket. He called it schlenket. And I cannot show it. This is 1/2. Can you see? Yes. And this is the other side. I hope it's to see. And always other colors. Not a, oh, it's heavy. Woo. Wow. All the colors I ever have knitted with. I don't know when this will be finished, but it doesn't matter. Oh, it's a nice colorway, isn't it? This one here. Oh, okay. And now, in the end, I can show what I'm currently knitting. Knitting this, and this is a Stephen West shawl, but it's more a scarf, I would say. It's he released this pattern 3 weeks ago or something like that, and I never thought that I wanted to knit a shawl or scarf or yes, something like that in August and summer, but I saw this colorway and whoo, it got me. I love this colorway. It's the original recommended colorway, and it's also Westwool, Stephen Westwool, and I couldn't resist to buy this pattern, to buy the Westwool, and to knit this little scarf. I made it a bit longer than recommended because I wanted to make it 2 times around. It's not ready now, it's will be a bit longer, but it's very small. And I never saw such a small, but he has some other small shawls this summer, I think. I cannot, I saw not everything he made, but, and it's also a very, it's an easy pattern. This, by the way, it's called Bubble Bandana. Oh my god. I cannot talk anymore. Bubble Bandana, and it's easy to knit. It's easy to knit, and it's, yeah, nice look, I think. And yeah, that is my current Stephen West. And since the 31st of August, the new mystery knit along is out. Not the pattern, of course, it was knitted in October, and we got the clues October 3rd, came the first, I think, but there are instructions, the colors you can use, and the basics of the pattern were told, and I decided this time we had to choose 2 colors, and as I'm very in love with these 2 colors at the moment, combination of orange and pink, I decided to make my mystery knit along this year in these 2 colors, and I have ordered the wool already, and maybe it came tomorrow. If I edit this video tomorrow, I can, I don't know. Okay, this is my colorway for the next mystery knit along, and it's called Go, go, dynamo. Whatever that means, I don't know. We will see what it looks like in the end. But I know my colors and I'm very excited to knit with these colors. And now I will end this video, and maybe I will do some other knitting podcasts. If I have something to show, I can make a podcast, but not so quite often. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye. So this is the Boneyard shawl. It was Stephen West's first design ever, and as last year it was the 10th anniversary of the pattern designs, of his pattern designs, so it was given free for all, and until now you can download it for free on the pattern websites. And I choose a light gray wool, a bit thicker wool is in this pattern, and so it would be knitted very fast, and I thought it was a nice present for my son's birthday, and he liked it very much. The Boneyard shawl. This is the striped Asian shawl, size large, and it's quite big. I would say like the Thundercloud shawl, and it's fingering yarn in the yellow part, and the white stripes with the big holes are mohair yarn, and it's very soft and very nice, and I like it very much. And my sister, it was a gift for my sister to his birthday last year, and she liked it also very much, and I think I will make one for me another time. This is the canal ring shawl for the partner of my son, and it's also not a difficult pattern, but only the border has a more complex pattern, so I had to concentrate in every row, and in the end it's quite a bit stressful because also more than 1,000 stitches in one row, but it looks very nice at all, and so it is a very, very nice shawl also as the other ones. It's about knitting. Bow, 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 bow. No, 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 no. Why it is so hard to start a new video, I don't know. Now the light is not so very good. The quilting triangle, sorry. May the force be with you. Ooh. Okay, now no, not now. Okay. Okay.